Well, I made it. I'm back in line here at DCA. After getting through security, it's like 7:05. A few minutes later, but not too bad. So I'm exhausted, but excited about a long day. Day number 2, getting started at DCA. Let's play the music.
Hey there, welcome to day 3 of my solo Disneyland trip report. This is the third of 4 episodes, the second of 2 park days, and this is probably the longest episode we will have in this series because I was at the parks the parks opened at 8 a.m., closed, Disneyland at least, at midnight, and I was there from 7-ish to like 11:45. So it was very long. It went so well. I recorded a lot. I could tell by the end I got a little bit rambly, so I apologize for that. I cut a few parts out, but mostly left it intact. And I named this No Regrets. And the reason I named it that is when I was there and I was getting tired or, I was like, oh, I need to take a break or go back to the hotel, I just reminded myself kind of the mantra where it was like, one, just maximize the time. Now, maximize doesn't mean super commando every second touring. It just means go for it and just do all the things you want to do. Yes, you're going to be tired. Don't have regrets, because we've all been on Disney trips or on trips in general where we go back and you're like, why didn't I do X? Whether it's a ride that ends up closing or just something because you got tired or everything else. And when you're on a solo trip, it's basically, I took it like, this is a really cool opportunity to be able to tour Disneyland for several days and, afford the expense, everything else, the time works out, not put extra burden on the family. Just go there and go for it. And that's kind of the idea I took into the entire trip, but especially the second day, because the first day I did more than I expected. And you had to figure things were going to go as smoothly in terms of rides breaking down and everything else. But still, I was able to do a ton. And so I'm going to take you along with me here. And I record a lot, so get ready for it. I'll jump back in at the end to set the stage for next week. But I hope you enjoy joining me for my second extended, super long, but awesome park day at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end. Let's do it. Let's go back a few weeks to my time at the Disneyland Resort. Here we go.
About 6 people deep at the line here for the rope. I'm going to take a shot at Radiator Springs Racers and see if I can make it. If I have to wait 15, 20, whatever, even longer, it's probably going to be the shortest wait of the day, and I don't want to mess with a single rider, so we're going to take a shot at this. We've got about 15 minutes before they drop the rope, and then comes the mad scramble with me and hundreds of other people behind me. So did the best I could. This will be interesting. Well, this is insane. Luckily, I'm about 30 people, maybe 40 people from the front, but that walk with like thousands of people behind, and they've got the rope and all the people dressed up for Radiator Springs Racers. This is pretty cool. I'm glad I got to do this once, but it's a bit of a scramble, but hey, fairly small group in front of me. This is how you got to do it, especially. I think it's going to be busy today on a Friday with good weather. So this was probably the way to do it as we walk towards the entrance. Just thought I'd jump in here. And it's not something I normally do, so it's been pretty fun. Currently waiting in line at Web Slingers Single Rider as the Avengers theme really cranks behind me. So Radiator Springs Racers was awesome as always. It was 6 minutes from when I got in line to when I actually got on with a crazy sprint, which is pretty crazy now that it went up to 90 minutes after that. But and it stayed there the whole time. But it was hundreds, maybe thousands of people behind you with the attendees coming. It's really something. But we were on the right side this time. First time I've been over there, though. It's just that one variation. We lost the race, but I know that's more random. Won it yesterday, but had a blast doing that. And then really got out of Cars Land. I did do, for the first time, Mater's Junko Jamboree, which is basically alien square and saucers with Larry the Cable Guy. Fun. Waited not very long for that, and that's going to go up as the day goes on. And I don't think I'll be back in Cars Land, but then I went to Guardians, which is so intense, so crazy. I underestimated even the last time just how unhinged that ride is and how you always feel like you're about to drop or go up, and the movements up are just so intense. But we want the funk was the song, but yeah, it's a blast. I had more fun even this time, just I don't know, it's just out of control, but it's a really good use of that ride system with a single shaft, how much they can do. People love it. The line's super long. Everybody's having a blast. Wish I could do that again, but I'm not going to wait that long for it. I used my lightning lane for that. Booked for Soarin or California, which has been down all day, and that's been the theme of this day. It's basically been, right now, Radiator Springs Racers now down, Soarin's down, Incredicoaster's down, Toy Story Mania was down earlier. A lot of things are down right now, so we'll see. I booked for 12:10 because a lot of people want to do the California version. Hoping it comes up at some point. But I'm just going to do single rider here, get a coffee, maybe do like Filler Magic and chill or something like that. That's a weird phrase. Then get to book another one at like 10:40. Probably will book Toy Story Mania or maybe QP Sky School because I still got to check that one off. But until then, just going to kind of mosey around and do a few things, and looking forward to wearing my arms out again, fighting spider bots. But maybe the third time I did this, I guess, on this trip. So yeah, so the day's going fine. And I know with Disneyland being open until midnight, it's like just going to knock out what I can here, and then still have tons of time. So I got to make sure I pace myself, or I'll never make it. Brought a jacket today because it was going to be cool because I was so cold last night, and it is hot. The sun is out, so I will be putting this in some sort of locker or something fairly soon because this is unnecessary and just kind of a burden. But you plan one way, you plan the other way. What are you going to do? I'll need it tonight probably. So, all right, we're going to head into Web Slingers, and I'll check in later. Well, I take back everything I said about Web Slingers yesterday. Single rider, because this was a disaster. Disaster that's a strong word. It was like, we stood in yesterday, the times I did it, it was just like blitz through. This time it was basically, took forever, and we finally were almost there. It was like 5 people before, and then they shut down the ride and kicked us all out. They did scan and say we get get a way to go on it again. I wonder if that'll be multi-experience. So I did not see anything I might not be looking in the right place, but I didn't see anything on the app, but I assume they did it. So hopefully that will all work out. So that didn't go well. Soarin's been down most of the day. I did reserve a lightning lane, but not till 12:10, like I said. But so now I'm heading over to get a cold brew coffee. And then I saw that Incredicoaster, I believe, which was down earlier, is open. Though I also saw Radiator Springs Racers is down now too. It's just been one of those days for Disney California Adventure. Not one of their best days, I gotta say. But it happens, I mean, this is a little different than Disneyland, where the ride, it is fairly, the rides aren't as old. That's what I say. I know we're 25 years in, but it's not like some of these old rides at Disneyland where you're like, yeah, okay, I understand that's broken. So I'm going to take a little seat here because I did request a mobile order a cold brew from the Joffrey's cart, which is mobbed with people. But I usually don't like Joffrey's that much, but I wanted to head over to Incredicoaster anyway, and then I feel like maybe I can, the next one I reserve will be something over this way when I have a chance to reserve Toy Story maybe, or Goofy Sky School. But right now I just need to sit for a minute because I'm already finding myself getting kind of tired from everything going on. But yeah, I think I'm going to find a more comfortable bench here with a good view and do that. But I gotta say, I mean, the park, it's a gorgeous day. Park's still humming along, but it has to be frustrating. I think they were having issues with Web Slingers, which is why the single rider took so long. That was one part of it, but then basically it just exacerbated into I mean, when we were finishing a ride yesterday, we sat there for about 10 minutes or something before disembarking. So that ride seems to be a little glitchy right now. But we'll see how it keeps up. I mean, the thing about it is I can't go to Disneyland till 11, but now I'm not going to at least go till 12 because of Soarin' unless I can move that. I mean, I could try doing single rider, but with that one being closed for a while, just reopened, I should add, I think it'll be mobbed at the start when everyone realizes it reopens. So maybe later I'll be able to do that. For now, I'm just trying to take a seat and actually, just savor it all in. I'm sitting here. I can see the Mickey Wheel. I can see Incredicoaster, Pixar Pier, which I still have not entered, but will in a moment. And then just this whole area that I just don't spend a lot of time in DCA when I go. I always spend more time, back when Grizzly River was open, a different time. That area next to Soarin' and Redwood Creek and everything, or of course Cars Land, Avengers Campus, everything else. This area it's a little much for me. But I am looking forward to, one, getting something to drink. I think I'm probably going to eat something from around here. I didn't love the Mexican place in San Francisco Square yesterday. So I thought maybe Paradise Gardens if I'm over there, or possibly the Lucky Fortune or something more from the Lunar New Year. Love that egg roll I had yesterday. Try not to repeat stuff though, so I'm going to have some food probably not that long from now, since I did eat breakfast before 7 a.m. at Panera. Let's see. All things considered, if I don't get to do web slingers, I'm fine. If it comes back online and this thing actually works, I'll do it. Hopefully it'll notify me when it's time. And then I'll get to do Incredicoaster for the first time. I've done California Screamin', hoping that single rider works and everything. And then we'll take it from there. So I'll check in a little later, but I'm just trying to sit because, while it seems like I've been here a while, I haven't even been here as far as park opening 2 hours. And we've got another 14 plus hours. So I don't want to be too down. I've only done 3 things so far. Would have been 4, but hopefully can crank that up real soon. Well, I'm waiting this out to... DCA is pretty busy today. It's a Friday. It's nice weather. And it just seems like, first day back for Incredicoaster. First day back in theory for Soarin' over California. And things just keep breaking. Like I mentioned, I did get a multi-experience pass just for web slingers in my app, so that's good from that time. Maybe I'll use it. We'll see if I have some time, because what the plan is I went and checked out Incredicoaster. Single rider line, they told me it would be over an hour, and then it was an hour and a half for the standby line, at least the last I checked. It might even be longer, I don't know. And Soarin's been down the whole time, and totally unconfirmed. I heard someone say that they had it down because they were using the line for the new popcorn buckets. I hope that's just ridiculous stuff, because if it's true, oh boy, there was a few times when it was up, but it's been down for a long time, and this was like the thing. I wanted to do this more than anything else here, so hope they get their act together soon. That's what I will say. But I did not ride Incredicoaster with that kind of weight. I did go do a no-weight ride, Silly Symphony Swings, which I've never done before, which is cute. Nice view, really good view. And it's a nice enough day where when you get the breeze going, it feels great out here. Then I went and just hung out a little bit. Paradise Garden, that restaurant. Did not eat there yet, but just sat there. Had to wait because I had booked my last Lightning Lane 2 hours. I finally took the 2-hour rule. And then I booked Goofy Sky School, which I'm not super excited about, but have not ridden. But that one I only have to wait like 15 minutes. So I waited, it was like 10:39. They came up as at 11. So I booked it. I know there's usually a grace period, so I feel like even a few minutes before, I'm going to do that. Then I'm immediately booking Incredicoaster, which is up to like 12:40. Make that kind of, I don't know what's going on with Soarin', but worst case, if Soarin' goes down and it comes back later, it's closer to the front of the park, so I'll come back for it. And I'll have multi-experience where I could use it any time of the day if it never comes back during my window. But so my thought is Goofy Sky School, food, then we'll check on like web slingers and Incredicoaster. My thought is whenever after I do Incredicoaster will likely be when I leave the park, which I didn't plan to stay here as long as it is, but it's just busy and there's things I want to do. And if I do all the things, I'm not going to come back here and then I'm just going to stay at main Disneyland Park all the way through midnight. So that's the hope. But I am going to go back and eat at Paradise Garden after doing Goofy Sky School because the food looked really good there. And I've heard really good things about it. There's some tacos I want to check out. Apparently, I just keep eating tacos. That's what I'm doing, I think. But hanging out near Jumpin' Jellyfish and the Golden Zephyr. I've not done either one before. It's just hard to think about doing either one and waiting. Maybe the Golden Zephyr if there's no wait. You know, spinner rides. Don't really want to start to feel gross. They're not super intense. They're kind of fun. But we'll see if I end up doing those. But for now, just going to go check off some coasters. I'm counting Incredicoaster in the credits. I need to get to 100 somehow. But the 2 Matterhorns got me to 87. If I do Goofy Sky School, I'll be 88. Incredicoaster 89. Then if I end up doing the kids, probably late at night, if it's got a lower line, the kids coaster, that would get me to 90. That's the best it's going to be because then I'll have coaster completion at the Disneyland Resort. That's the main reason I'm waiting to do a Wild Mouse that no one particularly loves. But I'll be doing that in a few minutes and then check in later. This hasn't gone exactly how I expected, but yesterday, with a few exceptions, went perfectly. And I find DCA to be a little hard to navigate. But the good news is that once I do Incredicoaster or get the 2 hours, then I'm just going to start booking Disneyland stuff. And then later at night, I would imagine the standby stuff is going to go way down. And I did most everything yesterday, besides things like the railroad or whatever, so everything's going to be like gravy at Disneyland is the way I look at it. Oh, sure, I haven't done Snow White. I would like to do Alice in Wonderland, but again, we're going to wait till 9 p.m. If this is 20 minutes, we'll do it then. This is a marathon, not a sprint day. So we're going to check out a few things. Check in later. All right, Goofy Sky School. Ow. Ow, ow. I love coasters and I rarely feel old except for usually on something that's overly thrilling. This was something else. Oh, I just don't think I like Wild Mouse coasters very much, but that hurts. That really hurts. And you're crammed in there and you just get slammed around. It's like you start out with all the turns and it hurts. And then you do the one drop, which I like. I like having a little drop there. It's not all turns, but holy cow, man. Matterhorn didn't hurt me. Space Mountain, Big Thunder, all those older coasters, totally fine. This one, just brutal. Well, I check it off the list. I think that's a one-timer for me, unless I'm there with Etta or somebody, because I do not need to do that again. Oh. And then I also was waiting there. I was kind of bored, so I was like, okay, we'll do the Golden Zephyr, which is really stupid. I mean, it's fine. I like it. It has a good breeze. You get a nice view of the waterway over there. So it's not over a parking lot. If it was that, it would just be the most useless thing ever. But wow, again, I knew what I was in for, but it had no wait. Basically, one cycle you waited for. And I got to say, the operations across the board, both days, super efficient. I like how quickly they get you moving. They're really good with single riders. As a single rider, not even just in the single rider line, finding ways to kind of fit you in and everything else is really good. So big props to the operations at both parks, even here at DCA, stuff breaking or whatever, when they had to dump the line at Web Slingers, they were so good at it. Really great job by everybody there. So super props there. But man, I figured I would not be interested in doing the Golden Zephyr again. But Goofy Sky School, that's the first coaster that's really hurt my back in a long time. But I can feel that. Whoa. Well, I did reserve Incredicoaster for 1, which is a couple hours away. Looks like Web Slingers is back. I'm wondering if Soarin, they had me book it for 12:10 way back, and then they just don't have anything available further. I wonder if they're just going to open it for a short window then, and then go back to not having it open. Because I don't think this is just a mechanical thing. So we'll see. I'm about an hour away from that, but not going to eat where I said I was going to because that doesn't open until noon. I'm going to check out San Francisco and maybe Lucky Fortune and sit down and eat some food, and then go back and do Web Slingers with my multi-experience, and then go from there. But man, big thumbs down, Goofy Sky School. I was thinking about coaster rankings for the resort, and we're going to have to see because you think the obvious bottom is the Chippendale coaster. Why can I never remember the name of that one? But Goofy Sky School is not getting above number 7, if at best, and it might be last depending on if I do the other one and how that's going to go. All right, time to go eat. Check in later. Well, I'm inclined to think that what that guy said about the popcorn bucket was totally wrong. So I don't want to try to repeat that because I didn't see any indication of that. That was just somebody probably being crazy. I think I give it like a 1% chance. So don't take too much into that. That's just probably funny Disney conspiracy theories as people are frustrated, as I am, that Soarin' over California never came back. I went over there and asked them, and they just said it should be back at some point today. So it's about 1:15 now. So I'm going to head over to Disneyland, but I'm hanging on to that multi-experience pass because what they gave it to me, I can use it for anything, basically, that has Lightning Lane. So I can use it for Indiana Jones or Space Mountain or wherever if it runs out. But I'm going to hang on to it until I am certain. Like probably until DCA closes or close to it. Because given how Disneyland is and it's near the front of the park, I will come back here if it opens. But if not, I'm done with DCA for good. I mean, for the trip. I finally did Incredicoaster. It reopened, thankfully. There was a stretch where I posted a picture of Blue Sky of just my 2 Lightning Lane things both being closed. But then Incredicoaster opened and the line went to 100 minutes. So you know how that works. Something's been closed for hours. The line goes up there. Everybody with Lightning Lane rushes back. I didn't rush back, but I went back there. So what happens is the Lightning Lane line took 20 minutes. Now, that's not insane, but obviously, because you don't want to just stop the standby line. Because if you do that, that 100-minute line becomes 150 or something if you just serve Lightning Lane people. And I hate that when I'm in standby, so I totally get it. But on the other hand, they kind of, they're up against it either way. I will say I'd only ridden California Screamin', and that was many years ago. And I got to say that, it felt exactly the same. I remember it seeming longer, but I think I've done more coasters since then, like long steel coasters. It is very long. It does a little bit feels kind of like Riptide Rocket, not in the way it has all the brake runs, but in that you keep thinking it's done, and then there's like another hill or another thing, because you have various elements. You've got the loop, you got the initial launch up the hill, you got a pretty decent drop, you've got the bunny hills at one point, some nice turns, some interesting things. And I think it's a solid coaster, and by Disney standards, it might be one of the more thrilling coasters people have ever ridden. It's kind of like how Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney World, especially before Tron and Cosmic Rewind were there, seems like well beyond anything else you would have experienced. But our Expedition Everest the same way. But it's very different when you think about it in terms of the coaster world in general. But it's solid. It's solid. I wouldn't say it's, in this park, it's the best. There's only 2. So it doesn't say much. But it's not my favorite Disneyland resort. I think it would fall behind Big Thunder, Matterhorn, Space Mountain, all of those easily. So there's no question about that it would be behind those. So both sides of Matterhorn, I'm going to say. So right now, I'm just kind of hanging out here a little bit in the Carthay Circle area. If you can hear the music playing in the background, I'm going to start moseying out. I did flip around and then do a Lightning Lane for Haunted Mansion just because I'm like, I'd like to ride that again. I'm sure the line will go down later, but so will everything else, so why not just pick one? That's kind of what I'm going to do. I mean, I got a few things I still want to do. Still want to do the railroad. There's a few like Alice in Wonderland, Snow White that I'll probably wait for later. I want to do a lot of rides again, but the only things I really haven't done yet that I like to do are Runaway Railway and Roger Rabbit, I think, and the railroad. Doesn't seem like Walt's going to be there. I think he's still broken. It'd be fun to do the monorail, maybe, but you got to kind of like take it, and I'd probably take it all the way around. I might do that. I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't done yet, like, your Nemo subs or whatever. Oh, also, It's a Small World is back. I didn't realize it was returning, but it's back today, so I'll definitely do that because that's fun. It wasn't there yesterday. And they've been down for refurb to kind of go, not refurb really, but the changeover from holiday back to regular. But all right, well, we might be saying bye to DCA here or come back. It's funny, I think like, wow, I've been here so long because I've been here for like 5.5 hours when I still have another 10.5 at Disneyland, assuming Soarin' doesn't open. I think Soarin's going to open, so I think this will not be the last I see of DCA. But we'll see. If it doesn't, I don't think I'll come back. I think that's the only reason. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm not going to rush back, but if it comes, something I really want to do. So we'll see. Cool deal. So I did it. Soarin' over California, the OG, the original, the champion. We'll see how Soarin' over America does if they learn their lesson. And I hate to say learn their lesson because Soarin' on the World, like I said yesterday, which I wrote it yesterday. So, doing both back-to-back days is kind of cool. It's fine. It's good. if you'd only ridden that one, you'd probably say it's great. But man, everything just hits so well. And just, it's almost like jarring to see everything not be CGI and like digitally created and just have it be what it is. So good. The music fits so well. It's so compact. I mean, I know it's the same length, but everything just works so well. And it's just, the smells were kicking in, everything. I mean, I'm so happy I finally got to do it. I have not done it since it played originally in Disney World. And here I did it when I was here the one time. Not as a special event. I have not been here during Food and Wine, and I missed it by like 2 weeks when they were doing it in Florida in late 23, early 24. We just missed it when we went to spring break 24. So got to do it. It was great. And the funny thing is, of course, that like I was saying on the last clip, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I've just given it up. I mean, no way. I just felt like I was going to leave DCA because the odds were not good. And of course, I go to Disneyland, do a couple little things. I went in the Main Street Cinema, which is a tribute to the Sherman Brothers, but it's really just that small world. Cool video. Very, very neat, but that's all it is. And then did the Frontierland shooting gallery, which I don't think I've ever done. Paid my 50 cents twice since I took a change for $1. Then did Lightning Lane Haunted Mansion again, and Haunted Mansion four times, stopped, maybe 5. And some of the ballroom dancers weren't moving, but still. And also we got backed up really strangely in the hallway. That's more of a Disney World thing. That happened, but still great, like always. I notice new things every time. I don't know if I noticed the ghost riding the bikes before in the graveyard, so that's a new one for me. And everyone's probably like, come on, whatever. But so I'm in line for Haunted Mansion, and I realize, oh my God, Soarin's open now. And the wait's 90 minutes. Of course it's open, because if I had waited another like 20 minutes, it probably, or whatever, it would have been fine, but whatever. So, okay. Well, I wanted to do the railroad at some point. I figured it would stay open. I didn't think, I had my multi-experience, it didn't really matter. So I went ahead and I took the railroad back. Took forever. My goodness, so many. I forget that they also stop at Tomorrowland too, because I'm used to Disney World. Because I got on at New Orleans Square and waited a while because I just missed it. It said every 10, but it was more like 20 plus. But I want to do it once. I want to do the Grand Canyon and dinosaurs again, which I did. See, still dinosaurs at a Disney park. Such a timely reference here in early February. Of course, after doing Indiana Jones again, I'm like, man, people in Florida are going to be so pumped when that opens, even if we're sad about dinosaur. And then said, okay, go all the way around, left again. Giant line to get into DCA. I think all the people getting off work or maybe annual pass holders or whatever. I don't know if there's blackouts today or anything. Maybe just Disneyland, maybe not. I don't know. But got right, did Lightning Lane, waited about 15 minutes, got on, and it was magical, so wonderful. Oh my gosh. Now I'm done with DCA. That's it for DCA. Going back into Disneyland at about 3:50 with, I don't have any time left. I've only got about 8 hours. So I'm going to get right to it. I'll check in later. Wow, it's been a really long time since I've recorded anything, but probably because I'm getting a little tired. But we've still got a long way to go. It's not even 7 o'clock yet, which you'd be like, wow, 7 o'clock, that's a pretty long day, Dan. You started at 7 a.m. this morning. Yeah, there's still 5 hours before close. Let me think. I did Soarin and talked about that. Then I went back. I've been in Disneyland ever since. DCA is done. So we came back here, and let me think for a moment. I may not have the order right. Oh, I did Haunted Mansion was before Soarin, so forget about that. I did Small World. Small World did not seem like it was... I didn't think it was coming back from being them removing the holiday overlay until later. That was TBD, but it seemed like it would be longer, like definitely before next weekend, President's Day. But it was back today, so that was awesome. Lightning Lane immediately, was able to do that and just had a blast. I had already reserved a Lightning Lane for Runaway Railway earlier when I was still in DCA, so then the 2-hour thing came up, so I ended up doing that. I really think the lobby is super cute, and I'd have to double check. I don't think it's exactly the same ride. I think there's a few differences. Oh, if you're wondering where I am, I'm in Tomorrowland. I'm now kind of heading over near Launch Bay because there's nothing going on there, so I can just kind of stand over here in a less crowded area. I mean, there's some chairs and stuff. I got a coffee because, so I brought a jacket and I never actually put it in the locker because it wasn't that hard to carry around really. But I knew once the sun went down, it was going to be essential. And now it is paying dividends to the fullest because it's like really comfortably chilly. Just going to keep moving around here a little bit. And so did Runaway Railway. Love that ride. I like it more every time. It's so funny. And also, my daughter Etta really loves those Mickey cartoons. So, I mean, goodness, that's totally up her alley. And the jokes, about just, oh no, the track switch and all those different things. And Goofy, just all the ridiculous stuff that happens. It's really clever. There's all these small touches and little characters that you could easily miss from like old Disney cartoons, and everybody, there's so many different things. Donald's like does one thing where he takes mustard and makes glasses for himself. I mean, just all kinds of ridiculous stuff that happens, and it's all done so well. Of course, I went into town because I haven't done Roger Rabbit, but I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many kids and so many people. I'm not ready for this. So I don't know if I'm going to get back there or not. I should mention they have that member lounge, the DVC member lounge in this area as I'm walking by. Obviously, that is not me, but I will say that there is something that's going on at this area, a little bit. But I'm going to sit down right here over by that generic Tomorrowland fast food place. But basically, there's a little bit going on, I will say. But Runaway Railway is awesome. And Toontown, Roger Rabbit, it's a cute area. But they were just, you go through it like 2/3 of the pathway is covered by strollers. And again, I'm somebody who's had little kids. So this is not like some new thing for me. I've gone through the whole thing with strollers, at Disney World. Not as much here. They were a little older when they came here. Though I actually think this park would be much easier to navigate with little kids than do at Disney World. But I've done it. One thing is the wider pathways than at Disneyland, but everything being so close together is great. So I went ahead and did that, and then was like, get me out of here. So got out of there. Mobile order. It's always smart to mobile order from Tropical Hideaway when you're standing in Toontown, even though it was like, actually it was when I was at Small World, but it was like, oh, it's so far. It's like 30 to 45 minutes. And then you do all the things and you're like, I've got to be across the park in 10 minutes. Wasn't a big deal. Got there easily, but got like a Dole Whip float. Figured, really loading up on those. Even though you can get them other places, but I still think it's different. This time with, there was a wait because Tiki Room was open, and I went ahead and got that and ate in the Tiki Room. Though I always finish at like 2 minutes into the show, not really much. But technically it was eating something in the Tiki Room. I love that idea. And then immediately it's like, I wonder if I could do Indy. Single rider. The wait was supposed to be like 45 minutes. Maybe there's no way to do Indy in like a really short time, but the actual wait was probably like 15, 20 minutes. So I probably cut that off. And Indy's great. Though I feel like this was like a different one because Indy said different things. So it's like we got the different variation. I felt like either some effects weren't working or they were different. But also I was sitting in front last time I was in back, so maybe I just saw things better this time. And then after that I went over and did Pirates. Had a 20-minute posted wait. Took about 15 or 20 minutes. And that's where I got really sleepy because when you sit in one place, when you're this tired for that long, that is when you really feel it. Tiki Room didn't really bother me, but this did. So I was like, okay, it seems weird. I'm going to get a coffee. And that's why I mentioned my jacket because, one, I normally wouldn't drink a hot coffee when the sun's blaring on me. But two, obviously if we weren't upset, if this was ending at 8, I would not because I'm like, hey, don't want to help sleeping. So that's the story. I'm kind of just using this time now. I do want to talk briefly. The vibes in this park are just so nice. It's so different. And I don't mean that it's like better necessarily in every way than Disney World. But I mean, because you've got tourists here, you've got tourists at Disney World, but there's so many locals and it's such a diversity of culture, race, age, nationality, everything more here that you really feel, hence just being near LA or being in so many different cities and areas of California are all kind of roped together near Anaheim, plus people like me coming in. And also just a lot of, you have a lot of young couples more than that. I mean, you have your families and everything. They're almost all in Toontown and Fantasyland. So you have families, but then you have a lot of young couples, and then you also have older people that clearly have a love for the park. And it's not that people Disney World has a lot of really intelligent fans that know. But there's just something different here because it's like their local park. It's kind of the vibes that you feel in like Kings Island, where they're really protective of the park. It's going to be different than just some generic amusement park that doesn't have the same connection to its local area. And that's definitely the case here. And so it's really nice. I mean, I come in it as like an outsider, you know, because I mean, yes, I know all of the theme park, or not all of it, but a lot of theme park stuff. But I'm a lot more of an outsider in terms of not being a local, not being an expert on this, trying to kind of learn on the fly. Man, walking around Tomorrowland, there's a lot of potential here. It's sad when you look up to the spot where the People Movers went. I'm looking at it right now, and it's just like that sculpture, and then I guess you call it a sculpture. I don't know what you would call it. And then there's not much else, and it's pretty sad, I have to say. It's just, there's something missing. You got Alien Pizza Planet, you got people, the vibes are good here. You got Space Mountain, which I do plan to do more later, I would think. Single rider, or potentially, if there's a Lightning Lane still available for late. That's what happens when it's midnight. I also have a Big Thunder Lightning Lane at like 7:25 that's coming up, but I'm going to do the Buzz Lightyear Star Tours combo, because both of them still like 20-25 minute waits, and I don't want to wait in those lines. I've done those enough. So I figure I'll do that. And then we're going to see. We're going to see about, we've got Paint the Night 8:30. I think if I'm going to watch it, it's likely going to be 10:30. But maybe not. It depends if my time works out. I also need to eat dinner, like actual food. Thinking Hungry Bear Restaurant Barbecue, because I'm going to be over there by Big Thunder. That feels right. We'll just have to look at the mobile order. I'll probably order right before I go in there with my Lightning Lane. And then maybe beignets, maybe some other dessert. And then also the Wonders Journey is 9:30, so we'll see how that lines up too. Because there are still things I want to do. Someday in my life, I will ride Alice in Wonderland. We'll see. And then Snow White, right, which I've done before, but if it's like a 5-minute wait, I like to do. And there's other things. I made a whole list. There's a bunch of things I still want to do again or whatever, but I'm checking them off. Also did Matterhorn again, single rider. Took a bit longer, so I only did one side. Could have sworn I went in on the Tomorrowland side, but I think I actually ended up doing the Fantasyland side, which is still good. I think the Tomorrowland side's better. I get very turned around and confused about where I am on that. All right, well, I'm going to go do Star Tours, finish this coffee, go do Star Tours and Buzz Lightyear, and then, crisscross the park back over to Big Thunder. I'll try to check in later. Wearing out for sure, running on fumes right now, but, I'm flying back in the morning. Tomorrow I'm just going to go sit on a plane and walk around airports. So this is my chance. Who knows when I'll be back here? Hopefully sometime in the next year or two, but I don't think it'll be this year. Maybe, probably not. So I'm going to maximize everything I can do for sure. This feels like the right time to record since I'm waiting for my dinner. Mobile ordered for Hungry Bear with the barbecue. Not the old Hungry Bear with the generic chicken strips and everything. Looks pretty good. I ordered a pulled pork sandwich with the fries and everything. And so I've got to wait a little bit. So sometimes it seems like they tell you about 5 minutes early. I'm standing near Tiana's, which has a 5-minute wait, but that's because it's cold. I mean, not cold, but it's like 60. And if I want to make it through the rest of the night, I am not going to tempt fate after last night being so lucky by where I sat. It's not that I don't mind getting wet. Like if it's a warm day, like when I was going to go on it yesterday when it was 80 and 3 p.m., I would have been okay with getting wet. Now, granted, not drenched, not Mystic River Falls drenched or Splash Mountain the last time drenched, but wet. But I'm not going to risk it. I had a great ride. I'm going to leave it the way it is. But like I mentioned yesterday, very impressed by it. I think the whole vibe in this area is cool. Still don't like the way we kind of dead end back here by Pooh, but I don't know what else. What are you going to do? But I will say that I think, from what I saw, if there were animatronics not working, they were very minor things. It was all working really well. But what have I been doing? Well, I just got to say, Big Thunder is just awesome at night. I rode it yesterday. It was good. I love it. It's a great ride. At night, it's legit. It's Florida in here. It feels like 10, 15 miles an hour faster. And it's like you just can't see anything, like especially when you go in like the tunnels and stuff because there's no light. I mean, when you drop through, you don't know where you're going. And it's awesome. If there wasn't a 45-minute wait, like if it was like 20, I would have got right back in line and done it again. I'm going to keep an eye out for later because, you figure after Paint the Night's going to start very soon, the 8:30. I might try to catch the 10:30 because there'll be a lot fewer people. I think that might be a plan. But then there's also at 8:30 also, when the Galaxy's Edge projection is at 10:15. I may try to watch that, at least some of that, and then because I think Paint the Night will have less crowds, kind of zoom on over and catch part of that later. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I also reserved a Matterhorn Lightning Lane. I don't know. It wasn't really much left. There was no Indy left or Space Mountain, which I haven't used today. So I'll keep an eye out. But, will I use it or not? Will I need it? I don't know. But I just grabbed it because, I had used Big Thunder. Big Thunder actually went down and it was multiple experiences, but I couldn't use it on like Indy or Space. It was limited. It was like things. And also I did go on Star Tours again, where I had entirely different. The other two also had started with Darth Vader. This was started with the droid, and you're behind the Millennium Falcon. I noticed during that when you're starting to get tired, that it wears you out more to go on stuff like that. Like, I feel pretty good on slow-moving rides right now. Big Thunder was fine, but it was just like, oh, I'm feeling that. Then we had the pod racing scene, not my favorite. There's just not much to it, not many jokes and things that I really like, but it's fine. And then after that, we did Naboo again. But we had Admiral Akbar. So my theory that they're trying to use Ahsoka all the way to prep for season 2, incorrect. So also did Buzz Lightyear again, where we got stuck, and I proceeded to hit this one target that wasn't huge, but it was kind of in the back over and over, which got me to the highest score that I've recorded at Disneyland. But I still was level 3. I was only 98,000 or something. So still not really cool, but give me another 2 seconds in that spot. At least I would have cleared 100,000. But the other times I was always about the same, 40, 45, 50. I should also mention I had my highest score on Web Slingers the last time I rode it, which I think I was almost at 200. I was 190 something. And our team was good too. So that was the best one. We even had a little kid who didn't have a very high score, but we still did very well. But I did those two, used the Lightning Lane, did Buzz again, did Star Tours again. Both still had 25-minute waits, like I was mentioning when I was in Tomorrowland. Had the coffee from Joffrey's, or Disneyland. It's just listed as coffee, but I think it's Joffrey's. It did wake me up, but kind of gross. Not my favorite, I gotta say. Not my favorite at all. But getting ready to eat here soon. Not going to see any of Paint the Night, but we've also got Fantasmic at 9. So I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to kind of mosey that direction and see if I can catch some of it. And then I'm also going to kind of keep an eye on the lines. Pirates was only 15. Might do that again. Might do Haunted Mansion again. And then 9:30 is Wondrous Journey. May try to catch part of that. Maybe not in the best spot, but at least kind of where I can see it without being in the way. Since I only caught a second of it last night, I probably could have given the way World of Color worked out. So may catch that. So it's I'm not saying I have to see any of these parades or nighttime things, because I do. I'm here for the rides, The shows are good. I saw World of Color last night. That was cool. Sorry, World of Color Happiness. And the Lunar New Year thing was cool. But, just kind of, I want to do the rides. And then if I see the shows, cool deal. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. All right, let's go get some food. Got a few awards to give out here. The first one is least satisfying meal of the main meals that I've had. I'm not talking about breakfast at Panera or whatever. And it's at Hungry Bear. And I will say the quality was fine. It wasn't bad theme park food. But too greasy. Just didn't really hit. Too messy, too greasy. I think it was a mistake to choose. And also, too, I think I was a little worn down by the fact that it took nearly 20 minutes after I said I was there for them to have the food ready. And it's it's a pulled pork sandwich and fries, guys. But I mean, they were working hard. I was watching them. So I'm not blaming the people, but I think that at that point I'm also tired. So that plays a role too. Second thing, next award is grossest bathrooms of the trip, and it's definitely inside Space Mountain, especially after 10 o'clock at night. So after getting out of the way, I watched pretty much all Fantasmic, and it's cool. I had forgotten. I knew they used the Mark Twain at the end, which was really cool. But I'd forgotten they also used the Tom Sawyer Island, Pirate's Lair They use those rafts too in multiple occasions. And then also the most impressive, obviously, is the use of the Columbia with the Peter Pan scene, with Hook, Pan and Hook way up there and all the people involved. That's really cool. And even though I had heard they used it, it's very different to hear they use it and to actually see it in practice. And wow, that's neat stuff. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Then I did Pirates again. I did one of those, oh, it's about to end. Okay, we're going to go over there. Wait about 10 minutes. Not too bad. Now, I had a situation where I know I was going to watch Paint the Night, but it's hard for me right now being this tired to stand still. Because, like, we saw this with World of Color last night. You stand still for too long, and it's like, I can't recover. So, that was just too much. I didn't think about I could leave on the monorail. That's really interesting. I'm standing here kind of near Finding Nemo. I think I might do the subs just because I'm waiting. My point being that I just can't stand still that long. So I think I'm just going to do some attractions over here at Tomorrowland or away from the bigger crowds. And I got Lightning Lane earlier for Matterhorn, and now I also got one for Space Mountain. So 10:20 and 10:40, but you might laugh, but I looked at the single rider line for Space Mountain. There was like 30 people in this special queue. So yeah, I wasn't going to do that. And then both of them still have long waits. So knock those two out and then see where we are. But for now, I got a little time to kill, so we're going to do Nemo. All right. Well, didn't stay till 12. Stayed till 11:45. Oh my goodness. I just couldn't stop myself. I just kept getting on more rides. There was one point where I was just like, all of a sudden I was in line for Snow White. And I was like, why did I do that? Once again, that Nemo ride is super stupid. For me, as an adult, I feel like, and this is not just nostalgia, because I don't want the serious submarine thing that, like, when you hear the audio clips from the original 59, it would probably be boring. But basically rehashing Seas with Nemo and Friends, including some similar beats and everything, which I know is a rehash of the movie, just doesn't work. But I will say, sitting down, it wasn't super cramped. It's relaxing. It's not so bad. Funny thing is, by the time I got out of there, and actually it probably happened before the Matterhorn went down for the night. So, okay. Go over to Space Mountain. Space Mountain was awesome. That's a really good way to kind of cap off a night, to go do that. Of course, that wasn't the end of the night, but did it 3 times on the trip. Blast every time. Loved it. Wonderful. 2 lightning lanes, 1 single rider, when the single rider was less yesterday. Then it's like, okay, I'm going to go. All of a sudden I have this multi-experience thing because the Matterhorn went down, which the Matterhorn I really liked. I'm so happy I finally got to do it. But I was like, I could have done Indy, but I know Indy takes forever. I would have been out of there after 12. Even with Lightning Lane, it takes a while. It's like, what would really be a good end to the night? Do Big Thunder again. It's just so fun and doesn't, it's not painful. It's not like real super thrilling. It's just the right level of thrill. It's perfect to end the night. Perfect. Of course, that is not how that was how I ended the night. But before I did that, I thought, okay, well, I'm over here by the Matterhorn. I'm going to cut through, go around Fantasyland. Oh, Alice in Wonderland's 15 minutes. Maybe I'll see how that line looks. And then I ran into the Paint the Night parade, which I guess it started at 10:30, but was just going back towards where Small World is. So I watched probably nearly all of that parade. Missed the beginning, but almost saw it all. Some of those floats are really cool. Glad I got to see that, actually. Music, it's fine. It's repetitive, whatever. It's good, though. So I saw the Paint the Night parade, even though I intended not to. So, hey, check that one off. But it was cool. But then I looked at the Alice line and was like, no, no, I'm not going to do it. Should have just done it right after Peter Pan the other day when it was probably like 15, 20 minutes. But I was like, I don't want to wait. I got to go. It's a little crazy starting out, jumping out of the gate yesterday. Never really saw it. It was down a bunch, and then it was over 20 minutes, 20 or above every time. So it's fine. Didn't end up doing that, but it's not going anywhere. You got to have something there. I remember that was what Tom K. Morris said once. He's like, what was so great about Disneyland, about the park like that, is you can never do it all. There was always something else. And I think that's important to remember, because when you have these parks that are, I've heard that even though it started with a good amount of attractions, that Epic is that way. And that started in front of what some of these parks have started, like in terms of attractions, or still are, like your Animal Kingdom, your Studios Paris, whatever. That's one thing about Disneyland. 2 days, both parks, you can be breakneck. 36 attractions yesterday. I mean, some repeats. 30 today. So much slower. And a lot of that was also stuff breaking down, and also some of the DCA attractions take longer because they're newer and they have pre-shows and more advanced things. So it's okay. But then I was going to head to Big Thunder, and then I just was like, in my head, I think I was going to do Alice, so I had another Fantasyland attraction, and I hadn't done Snow White yet. I'm like, okay, I'll get on that. It's a 10-minute, probably didn't take that. But I'm still not that impressed. I mean, I will say this. I think the skill and effects and modern effects that the Imagineers used, the design of the newer Snow White is excellent. Really top-notch modern attraction in that way. I love the fact that all these dark rides like that, Pinocchio, Snow White, Peter Pan, Snow White especially right here, you don't see any other vehicles. It's like you're having your own experience, and that's the whole idea. But it just doesn't do much for me. There's no edge to it. It's very like positive and upbeat, besides that scene with the scene with the witch. I mean, there's more that we done there. I mean, I know that what they were going for is to be brighter, not to be as scary, to be like Fantasyland, well, the name of it is, it makes sense. I get it. I think that what they were trying to do, they totally succeeded. It's just a matter of, is that what I'm looking for? No, not really. Then I finished with Big Thunder, which, what a great way to finish. And then actually was like, I'm still kind of hungry. I didn't have anything after Hungry Bear. That was a little disappointing. But I didn't want a bunch of food. I didn't really want ice cream. And then I remembered, there's got to be somewhere they're selling churros. I haven't had a churro. I've never had a churro at Disneyland. I've only had kind of not good ones at places. And so they had the one right there by the train station, still open. Yeah, the line took 5 minutes. And I bought one, and it was great. It had the spot. Perfect way to end a Disneyland trip. Just perfect. Now I'm back at the hotel. My lift picks me up tomorrow, 7:15 in the morning, which will actually, I'll be getting out of the room later than the last 2 days. So it's pretty crazy. I'm going to sum up tomorrow. I will spend time really summing up the trip, including talking a little bit about what happens with the travel back, but that's kind of boring stuff. I think I'm going to sign off for a minute, get to my room, and then close it off for the night. All right, it's about 12:20 in the morning. I took a shower. Yeah, despite the fact that the Howard Johnson shower is not particularly amazing and the products aren't really that great, it sure felt good. I gotta tell you, after being at the parks from leaving here at 6:40, getting back here, basically, it was almost 12. So trying to do the math, that's, oh my gosh. It's like 17 hours. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure I've ever done more than that anywhere in any park. Trying to think. Well, no, because when I did my 30 hours at Galaxy's Edge, there was a podcast about that. I did get up at 5 a.m. because the park opened at 6. But that one, I was going back that day. So, which was so stupid. I should have stayed another night. What was I even doing? But so I left the park at like 4. So it wasn't as long. It was like getting up at 5 a.m., but leaving the parks, that's only 11 hours. That's chump change. That's nothing. And, Ed and I did, I think, like a 10 a.m. to like almost 11 p.m. at the Magic Kingdom in 2024, which with a kid, that's, not that young, but, at the time, I think 11-year-old. That's like 13 hours. That's a lot. But, oh boy, this is something different. But I'm going to shut it down here pretty quickly. I had a couple things that I forgot to mention. One, the Rocket Raccoon animatronic wasn't working in Guardians, which I hadn't heard as being a common thing. He was up, and I was thrown for a minute. He's on the screen, and I thought, oh, when are they going to switch to the animatronic? And then all of a sudden we're leaving. Like, oh, this is like Kylo B mode, But hey, I appreciate that they don't have to shut down the ride. Same with the Navi Shaman, same with Kylo, all these new ones. It's nice to have options. But that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Interesting, all the single rider lines. I think I'll talk about this more. When it gets busier out, they become, in one sense, you could say more valuable, but in another sense, less valuable in a way. Though I think it would have worked out okay with Web Slingers if the ride hadn't broken down. But like Incredicoaster, for example, I remember California Screamin'. I used to think this, it was different. We're talking, when I went on that, it was 2012 or something. But I remember there was like an hour wait, and the single rider line was like the savior on that. I mean, it was kind of with Indiana Jones though that one you feel like you're like a spy or something. They give you this card and you have to ask them for it, and then you're all going all these weird ways, and it's just like, they don't make you go. They used to make you get in the elevator. Actually, they did that at California Screaming also. I don't know if that still happens. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways. I'll probably talk about this more when I sum it up tomorrow, but that's kind of flowing through my head. Overall, just I really like the mix of new things, a lot of DCA, but some of Disneyland, and older things that are like have some nostalgia. Obviously, this is not a hot take. Disneyland does this better than I think any other park, better than the Magic Kingdom, better than Epcot for sure, Hollywood Studios, where any of those. Maybe Tokyo Disneyland is similar because they have some history, but they've also added a bunch of new stuff. Obviously, there are rides that have left Disneyland that people really miss. You have your Country Bear Jamboree as an example. That's just what jumped to my head. I know there's things that are bigger that are gone. The People Mover being probably the biggest example. But it's just the mix. The mix is so good. And it's not like it's just like nostalgia. Sure. During Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln in the row in front of me, there was like a mom and I don't know if she's a teenager, maybe 20, but like between 16, 17, and 20. Right when it started and Lincoln started, she started laughing and then was like taking a nap and was just like, and I saw, not laughing, but a very similar reaction from my kids where they were just like, oh my gosh, Dan, really? So there's some nostalgia for that, even though I never saw Mr. Lincoln like when I was young, or I didn't go to Disneyland much as a kid. I don't remember seeing Mr. Lincoln at the 64 World's Fair. Also, PhilharMagic, I should mention. I don't know if I talked about that, but it's so interesting having it in the old Muppets 3D theater where you could see where, I wonder if Statler and Waldorf are still up there behind the curtains. But also the way the screens are, because it's not as big a screen. It's just like a single screen in front. And then the aspect ratio, they have to sometimes you feel like they're like squishing it, but then they use the side walls, which is really interesting. So, I mean, not with everything, but with certain ones. I really noticed it during the Coco scene because that's newer, of course. Slightly less impressive, but also there was hardly anybody in there, and it was kind of fun to not have to fight, because sometimes you go to PhilharMagic, it's not that it's huge, you wait in line, but there could be a lot of people, and this was almost no one. Though I don't know if that's going to survive, because that's in the Hollywoodland area. I don't know if that's going to survive the Pandora takeover. I suspect not. But I think that's it for now, because I've been going on for a while today. You've heard a lot about this day, and then I also want to have things to talk about tomorrow. I will say just overall, this was a great day. I felt like yesterday things almost went perfectly. I mean, yes, there's always more things you could do, and I went to World of Color too early, whatever, but pretty much perfectly yesterday. Today, especially with things like Soarin being down and Incredicoaster and Web Slingers, a lot of the DCA stuff didn't work out as well. But if you really look back at it, it's like I did the things I didn't do Toy Story Mania, but I've done that plenty of times in Florida. But I did pretty much the things I wanted to do. It was just the order was kind of weird. And I had to come back for Soarin and everything else. And sure, I thought, well, maybe I'll ride Soarin a bunch of times. Or that's hard to do when it's barely open. But overall, I mean, the things I was planning to do, the Radiator Springs Racers rope trap worked. Everything seemed to work. And Disneyland didn't really have that issues, even though the Matterhorn went down. That didn't affect it much. And I mean, once I got to that point at Disneyland, I did not think I would do as many things as I did. I wondered, there were times, especially during the murky middle, like 4, 5, 6 p.m., where I thought I'm never going to make it past 8 or 9 p.m., if that. I was so tired. And then I had a coffee, and then I did some rides where you sat for a while, did Pirates, some of these other rides, and got out of the crowds a few times, and just kind of, even before I ate, just got my energy back. And didn't make it to 12, but got pretty close. Speaking of that, I need to go to bed because I have to, pack up my backpack in the morning and then get rolling so that I can get to Long Beach Airport, which on a Saturday morning I don't think it'll be too bad, according to what Lyft tells me. But hope you enjoyed this, and, we're going to come back and do it again tomorrow. Not at Disneyland, not at Disney California Adventure. Tomorrow's going home, but still more to cover for sure.
Welcome back. Well, we are here in the studio feeling comfortable after such a whirlwind day where I gotta say, having those two parks next to each other, it's really easy to underestimate just how much you can accomplish. Even when stuff breaks down and everything else, it wasn't that big a deal to be in Disneyland, even though I took the railroad and slowed me down, but then to go back just for Soarin' over California. Could you imagine? I mean, I'm sure many people have done it, being at, let's say, Hollywood Studios and being like, okay, I'm going to go to Epcot just because I want to ride Soarin' or whatever. I mean, you can walk there, but it's much more significant to do something like that versus what you could do from DCA to Disneyland. And I just got to say, overall, I cannot wait to get back there. This was not a case where I'm like, okay, did about 70 attractions, checked it off, I'm done. No, there's so much more that I would love to do there. And being there and having such a great time just made me want to go back for some more. Well, we're getting a little bit long here, so I'm going to sign off in a minute here. I just want to say thanks again to all of you for listening and jumping in with this little podcast mini-series. I know it's been a long while, over a year since we finished the show proper. And, we had the one episode about my Six Flags summer and then also talking about Disney in 2025. There's plenty I could talk about in 2026, maybe a little bit next week. So I'm going to set the stage for next week. Basically, it's going to be, I didn't record as much as I would have liked. I just recorded one significant clip at the airport and, an intro and everything else. But most of next week is going to be summing up the trip. I'm going to give out some awards, including like biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, which rides I rode the most, a lot of other fun things like that. Best meal, worst meal, which I already gave away, all those things. And just talk about the trip overall and, how everything went. I know I've already done it a lot, but this will be more of a summary now recorded, as of this recording, I'm about almost 3 weeks. From 3 weeks ago, I was at Disneyland for day 2 of the trip or day 1 of the parks. So to give you an idea of when I'm recording this, and time has flown by. It's kind of crazy to think about, but I just cannot wait to get back. And if you'd like to contact me, you can always email me, dan@tomorrowsociety.com, or follow me on Blue Sky. And that is at the Dan Heaton. I'm also out on Instagram. It's a private account, but I will accept you if you seem like a real person. Don't post on there that often, but it's always fun to connect with you. And you can buy me a Dole Whip. tomorrowsociety.com/Dole Whip if you want to help support the show. But really, it's just fun to be out here. It's fun to chat with all of you. I hope you're enjoying this kind of different approach to the show. If this is the first time you've ever listened to this show, there were over 250 episodes, and most of them were evergreen. They were interviews with authors, filmmakers, Disney Imagineers, a lot of people that work behind the scenes, composers, other podcasters, people you likely know. You should check that out, tomorrowsociety.com/podcast with an S at the end, or just look at Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever. But I think that's enough promo stuff. I'm just here talking about my trip and having fun. So we're going to sign off for day number 3. Be back next week to sum it all up, some more audio for my trip, and then just to give out some awards and close out this really fun podcast miniseries. I would love to hear what you think about it. Hope you're all doing awesome out there and hanging in there. I know it can be a challenging time at the moment for a lot of you, including all of you who just got a bunch of snow, but just in general with the state of the world. And this is an outlet for me to kind of put my efforts into something more productive than doom scrolling or anything else. But hope you're all doing great. Hope this helps kind of give you a little break from whatever you're doing that might be a challenge. Take care out there, and I'll talk to you again next time. Next time on my solo Disneyland trip report.
Favorite thing about Long Beach, of course, is that you get to go out on the tarmac and walk onto the plane. So this is such a tiny airport. Doing okay here. I'm in the Phoenix airport right now, getting set to fly to St. Louis. I'm going to give my quick off-the-top airport rankings, mostly in terms of cleanliness. One of the reasons I love going to theme parks. Just happy vibes. It's good. And even just the whole silliness of like trying to do a strategy, and all you're really worried about is what am I going to ride, what am I going to do, what am I going to eat.
I've put together a bunch of categories: biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, all about the food, worst painful ride for an old man, best nighttime spectacular. I'm just going to have fun with this.